I feel fortunate to have learned in the last year, straight from Ben Patrick, the knees over toes guy, just the value of using sleds on a regular basis. It's interesting, about 8 years ago, as I was getting coached and competing in the sport of CrossFit, one of the things I've written about in newsletters, I've also talked about in my YouTube channel, is that I had really stiff ankles and ankle problems that stemmed from years of playing soccer, all the planting and kicking, place kicking that I did as a goalkeeper. And I remember feeling like, how do I get better range in my ankles? And the coach that I had at the time said, you know, there's not really a great functional exercise for ankles. He kind of alluded to like sled pushing as being a way to load the ankle in dorsiflexion, which, you know, at the time I was like, okay, that could be a good tool to use for ankle mobility. But it was like we did it once a month, you know. And then fast forward 8 years, Ben Patrick, I get to meet him, I get to learn from him, and he incorporates this every day in his training. Every day in some form, walking backwards, walking forwards with sled, with weight against resistance. And it has just been massively impactful on my ankle health, ankle flexibility, and foot strength, which has just carry over to everything in the lower body in training. So I still, I don't do it every single day anymore, but I still, 2 to 3 to probably 4 days a week, will include that as a warm-up in training. 5 minutes, push it down. I think this whole distance is about 20 meters. So I push it 20 meters, drag it backwards 20 meters, and I do that continuously until the clock strikes 5, and that's it. And it's something simple that you can do. So get yourself some turf, get yourself a sled, and start practicing that. These little kind of body part isolation warm-ups or pre-fatigues that I like to do are some of just like the best ways that I've discovered over the years to take care of some essential accessory work that's going to keep me mobile, keep me feeling good in my joints. Also a great way to prepare for movement patterns that I'm going to be doing in a day. So such as like today we're going to squat a lot, so I like to get the ankles and the hips properly prepared. I'm doing the sled dragging, which helps to open up the ankles, gets the feet working. Also a calf raise, nothing heavy, but just again working that plantar flexion, dorsiflexion stretch. And then I go over here and we do some hip flexor work, something to just get these hip flexor muscles kind of firing and wake them up a little bit, because they're very much involved in squatting too. I use this monkey foot to do I call it a psoas march or a hip flexor march, and I'll often do it in a variety of different positions. The most common position I do is when I'm just hand supported here, knee up above the hip. But with many things that I do in the gym with functional bodybuilding, I like to take one movement and just put my body in different positions in order to simulate like just different bracing, different torso positions, different shoulder positions. So in this case, I'm hanging, I got most of my body weight hanging from the bar, and I'm doing the same hip flexor march. And it just adds a subtle bit of variation to the movement pattern, working my grip a little bit, working the upper abdominals a little bit, the intercostal muscles, some lats, just to tie all that into this hip flexor. I mean, our muscles all can act independently of each other, and isolation training is really important. You need to be able to contract muscles, know how to connect your brain to a muscle, but then also to bring together other movement patterns, muscle contractions like upper body right now with this lower body. Just good brain exercises, and a great way to make these pre-fatigues or this kind of warm-up portion of training a little bit more engaging on your brain. Wake up the body, wake up the mind. Get ready. Hey, if you want to have a good training session, you got to be mentally in the game. You got to be present. And there's no better way to get present and start your training than with a hot start. You guys know what it's about. Let's do it. I love the athleticism of the Olympic lifts. Something that I learned in college to do power snatches and power cleans to aid in my sport, which was soccer. Then it became a big part of CrossFit, the sport I was playing for a bunch of years. But it's an elegant movement. It requires so much technique. It's a balance of technique and speed and strength. And, you know, for that reason, it's really fun for me. Now that I don't compete anymore, I don't have the same requirements to do this exercise for max weight or to be really proficient at it with under fatigue. So I've changed my approach to it. I feel like lifting maximally in the Olympic lifts and lifting the Olympic lifts under fatigue has some risk associated with it that maybe doesn't resonate with a lot of the people that follow me or people that are in the gym. So in one of the training tracks in Persist, I keep Olympic lifting like this in. So in Perform, you can Olympic lift 1 to 2 times a week with us, and we take more of a skill-based approach to it where we have shorter rest periods. We load modestly. We use a lot of complexes to keep maximal loading down. And it becomes this thing where it's like you can get a great workout, you can do some good lifting, work on your coordination, your skill without pushing maximally. And if that's something that interests you, you have an option to do it. And for those people that don't love it, we have great, program track options for you. So I continue to like to lift the Olympic lifts. I'll go heavy periodically because I just love it. And for those people that just don't see a need to do it, I completely understand. It's highly technical, and if you don't have great position, it might not be in your best interest to try and push it maximally if you're not ready to take the time to learn the skill. I've learned this over the course of over a decade of doing Olympic lifts, and I still have lots to work on. So just keep that in the back of your mind when you're thinking about, should I do Olympic lifts? Maybe, or maybe not. There's lots of ways to get at this.